Hey everyone, I welcome you all to this session. And in this video, we are going to analyze cricket's data. We will basically discuss about Virat Kohli's international cricket centuries data, and we'll be discussing about creating a report, an Excel report, and in the last turn, the project video that we created, we didn't discuss about adding slices and all, so we'll be discussing about that as well. Apart from that, we'll also talk about the Power Query editor, right? So this is the data that we have, as you can see on the screen, and you can click here on any one of the cells in this particular data, in this particular range, and then click on data, get data from other sources, from table slash range, and this much part will be selected, and click on OK. All right, so it brings you to the Power Query editor. Now here we will first of all clean the data, prepare it for our analysis, and then we will create charts and will then create the report, right? So first of all, uh, this is the data that we have, right? And these are the different columns in our data set that you can see here. We have number column. This tells you about the different records. Then we have runs column. It will tell you about the runs that he scored. And here in some of the values, you can also see that we have this asterisk after the score that is written, and the symbol just simply tells you that whether after making more than 100 runs he was dismissed, either he was dismissed or he was still not out. So wherever this symbol is present, it simply says that he was still not out and was still playing. But the elements or the cells where there is no such symbol present, it simply represents that he was dismissed, right, after making this much runs. So that's the thing. Although the data that is available to us, I don't think that it's the latest data that is available, but this is like one of the data set that we are going to use for the analysis. And here we have around 80 records, and we will use this data for our analysis in this particular video, right? So then we have after runs column, then we have against column, the team against which India was playing. Then we have position, so the position at which he went for batting. Then we have innings, it will tell you about whether it was the first inning, second inning, and so on. Then we have venue, the stadium at which the match took place. Then we have ground, I mean, whether it was a home ground or like we have different categories: home, away, neutral. And then we have null values as well in this particular column. So we will discuss about treating these null values as well. We'll discuss about that as well. So these are the different values that we have here. And then here we have date column that tells you about the date of the match. And here we have values in the date time format. We want it to be in the date format, but we'll discuss about that in a while, right? And here we have result column, and in this result column we have different values like whether the match was drawn, lost, tied, and so on, right? So that's the thing. Now uh, first of all, it becomes very important to change the data types of all the columns. So first of all, we will talk about the data types of all these columns, and then further we will talk about other data cleaning steps as well. So for this first column, I want the data type to be a text data type, because the numbers which are written in this particular column, number column, I will not be applying any mathematical operation like finding out the average or finding out the mean and so on this particular column. This can be used to identify the number of the records that we have, for example. So at most we can be interested in knowing about the count, and basically we are using the values in this column to identify different records. So there is no need for this particular column to have numerical values. So I'll change its data type to text, replace current. All right. For this column as well, as you can see that we are having some numerical values, but we have some values where asterisk is present after some numbers. So I will change this also to text. Then this is already text. We're fine with it. For position, for this column also, we are not interested in applying any mathematical operation like finding out the sum, average, or so. In case if we'll be interested in knowing about the count, then we can find it by changing it to text as well. So I'll keep it text only. replace current. Again, for innings as well, I want to change it to text. That's it. For venue, it is already text, so there are no problems with it. For ground, I want to keep it text. And also there is one more thing that you can see that here we have null values, right? As this part you can see here, it is empty, right? So I am interested in replacing this null value with unknown. So I'll just right click on this column, then I'll click on replace values. In place of null, I'll simply write unknown and then okay. So now you can see that null values are gone now. For the next column, that is date column, I want the data type to be date. So I've changed it to date. Now you can see that time is not present here, only date is present here. And for result column, I want it to be text only, right? So that's the thing. Now, these were some of the points that we've discussed about the Power Query editor. We'll meet in the next video. We'll also talk about data profiling and some other data cleaning steps. So we'll meet in the next session. Till then, thank you. Bye-bye. Hi everyone, welcome back. So now in this video, we will discuss about data profiling. So when we talk about data profiling, there are three things that you have to check. First of all, you can just simply click here on View tab. Then simply you have to check this box, that is column quality. Column quality will tell you about the valid, error, and empty values in each column. Then we have column distribution. Column distribution will tell you about the distinct and unique values in any column. Distinct actually refers to the number of the different values in your column, in the given selected column, and unique refers to the number of the different values that occur only once in a given column. So this column distribution will tell you about the distinct and unique count for all the columns, and this is very important when we have to decide primary key in the cases where we are using multiple tables for analysis, and we have to establish relationships. Although here we are not using multiple tables, it is a single table that we are going to use for analysis. Then here we have something called column profiling, column profile. So you can just simply click here on column profile, and this will tell you about the total number of the records, error values, empty values, distinct values, unique values, minimum, maximum, and so on. For each and every column, you can see that as of now, it is showing you this column statistics for venue column because this is selected. If I'll select this column, then it will show you the records for this column only. So that's the thing, right? So you can check the details of each and every column. You can go through all the columns, and if there are some changes, like if you want to replace some values, if you want to make some other changes, you can make those changes as well, right? And also you should not forget that here you should select the option column profiling based on entire data set, right? Because by default it will show you the analysis for top 1000 rows only. So you can be having more than 1000 records. And if I will click here on column profiling, then you can see that we have a total of 80 records, right? So we will be using this particular data set in our analysis, and we have a total of 80 records here, right? So that's the thing. And also I will uncheck these box. We will talk about other data cleaning steps. Now for this particular column, that is runs column, here you can see that there are some values where we have an asterisk after the value, but in some other cells we do not have any such symbol. So the places where we have this symbol, it represents that after making more than 100 runs, he was still playing and he was not dismissed. While if I'll talk about other cells, other elements, then like for example here, if 118 is written and there is no such symbol present, no asterisk is written after this 118, it means that he was dismissed, right? So we want to identify that what were the number of the times, or how many times he was dismissed after making more than 100 runs, and how many number of times he was still playing after making more than 100 runs. So for that purpose, what I'll do, I'll add one more column in this particular data set, in which I will first of all separate this character, this asterisk, from the cells or the elements where we have this character, and in remaining cells or the corresponding cells, I mean the cells which will be created in the new column with respect to the values which do not have this asterisk symbol after them, we'll be having null values, right? So we'll see how it works and all. So first of all, I'll click here on this column, that is runs column. Then I'll click on transform and split column, and by digit to non-digit. So you can see that after 3 digits we have this asterisk, like for example in this case of 102, then in case of 100 we have this asterisk, right? So you can clearly see that it is changing from digit to non-digit. So I will split and create a new column where this difference is present, that is by digit to non-digit. Just simply click here and you can see that a new column is added by the name runs to. And here you can see that, for example, if I'll talk about this 107, that since it is not having this character after 107, so here you can see that null value is present, while this 102 was having an asterisk after this. So in this runs to column we have this asterisk. So in this way the new column has been created. Now in place of this asterisk in runs dot to column, I want that not out should be written. So I'll right click, replace values. I'll replace this asterisk with not out and click on OK. And for the cells for which I have null values in runs.to column, I will replace these null values by out and click on OK. And I want the data type of this particular column to be text. So it is already text. That's not the problem. And in place of this runs to, I want to change the name. And let's say I want to rename this column as status. So I'll double click and then I'll write status. All right. Now this was the new column that was created. And now I'll talk about the column in which the score is written. And this column is now a number column. This is having numerical values. So I'll first of all change the data type from here to, let's say, a whole number. And I will double click on runs.1 and I'll rename it as score. Enter. That's it. So now we have prepared our data for the analysis, and now we will close the Power Query editor and we will then go back to the spreadsheet and we will create a report there, right? So I'll click on Home tab and I'll click on drop down and close and load. So it may take some time. So you can see that we have this new worksheet by the name table 1, and this is our prepared data that we are going to use, and this was our data source, right? So I will hide this data source. I'll right click and click on hide, and this is the table, prepared table that we have created, and we will be using this table for the analysis. So we'll meet in the next session and we will then discuss about creating visuals and adding visuals to the report and creating the report. So we'll meet in the next video. Till then, thank you. Bye-bye. Hey everyone, welcome back. So in this video, we will see how to add a visual to the report. So first of all, I will rename this worksheet from table 1 to data. So double click and change its name to data. Enter. Now click any one of the cell in this table and then click on insert pivot table from table in range. So you can select this table and click on OK. So you will see that a new worksheet will be created, and now you can create a pivot table here, and using that pivot table we will create a chart and then we will add those charts to the report that we will create. So first of all, I will name this sheet 1 as pivot 1. So I will double click and I'll write pivot 1, enter, and then I'll click on any cell on this pivot table. Then you can choose the relevant columns that you want to choose, and you can place them in suitable section like row section, column section, values and filters, right? So for example, let's say we want to know about the teams against which Virat Kohli hit different number of centuries, right? So we want to know about that. So what I'll do for that purpose, first of all, I'll drag this against field and we'll drop it here in rows section. And then again, I'll drag this against field and I'll drop it here in values section. So this shows you that against Afghanistan, the number is 1. Against Australia, 16 times he hit 100 from the data set that is available to us. Against Bangladesh, 6 times. Against England, 8 times, and so on. So you can see that the total is also being represented, which is equal to 80, right? So just simply click here on the pivot table that you have created, then click on pivot table analyze, then click on pivot chart, and you can insert any chart. So let's say I want to insert a bar chart here. So I will select this bar chart and just simply click on OK. Right, so we can place it here, and we can also change the chart. We can also choose a line chart, but I think let's keep it a bar chart only. So in this manner, you can insert a bar chart. I want these buttons to be hidden, so I can simply click here and on any one of the button, and then I'll select hide all field buttons on the chart. I want to hide this as well, or I want to remove this as well. So click on it and click on the legend and delete. Now let's format this visual. So I want the grid lines. I do not want the grid lines to be there on this chart. So plus icon and then uncheck this box. And after that, let's say we want this thin line, thin gray colored line along the vertical axis to be removed. So right click, outline, no fill, I mean no outline. So the outline is gone now from the y-axis, vertical y-axis. And let's change the format of the text written along the vertical axis. So just simply click on the text, home, let's keep it bold, black, and can further increase the size. Let's keep it 10. And we want to represent the numbers as well. That is, we want to represent the data labels, and we do not want the number of the matches to be represented along the horizontal x-axis, but we want the data labels to be turned on. So I can just simply click on this plus icon, and from this axis I will change this primary horizontal to off. So the numbers from the horizontal x-axis are gone now, and we want to represent these numbers in the form of data labels. So I'll change this data labels to on. So now you can see that the numbers are written along with this bar that you can see. So now I want to change the formatting for these numbers as well. So I will click on any one of the numbers, and let's keep it bold and black. So that's the thing. Now you can arrange it in descending order as well. So I will just simply click here on any one of the bars and click on sort largest to smallest, or maybe you can sort smallest to largest. So the chart appears like this, and it looks comparatively better now. So that's fine. And let's say I want to give some suitable chart title as well. So I will just simply click here on total, double click on it, select it, and then you can change the title for the chart from here. So let's write number of the centuries against teams. So we can write number of centuries against teams. You can give some other heading according to your convenience. So let's keep it bold and black, italic and underlined as well. So that's the thing. Now we can further format this chart. So first of all, you can click here on this chart, right click on this chart, and then you can see this option format chart area. So just simply click here on this option format chart area, and you will see this fill in border appears here. So for this chart, let's say I want to add some borders, so we can keep it a solid line. And right now you can see that blue colored solid line is there. Let's say I want black colored line, so you can select black color from here, and now it's having a black colored line. It looks comparatively better now. We can also from this section, that is effect section, having this chart selected, just simply click on this effect section, and from here you can add a shadow as well. So click on the drop down, and from this presets you can choose any suitable option that you like, from outer, inner, perspective, whatever you like. So let's say I want to select this one. Yes, so it looks better now. And you can maybe select some other preset as well according to your choice. You can select inner as well. Maybe I'll select outer only this time. So let's select this one only, right? Also, as you have formatted this plot area, you can also format this particular area. That is, sorry, as we have formatted the chart area, similarly you can format the plot area as well. So you can simply first of all right click here near any bar on this blank area, and now you will see this format plot area option. If you want to add a border to this plot area as well, you can add a border from here. Let's say if I'll click on this solid line, so now you can see that a border is added around this bar. So you can do that as well. As of now I do not want to add it, so I'll be removing it. But if you want to, then you can add the border as well, and you can do the formatting for the plot area as well. So you can do the formatting for the chart area, and you can do the formatting for the plot area as well, right? So that is the thing. Now this is a chart that we have created where number of centuries against different teams are being represented. Now I'll click on this plus icon, and in place of sheet 2 I will write report, enter. And I do not want the grid lines to be present here, so first of all close it and close this as well. I do not want the grid lines to be present here on this page, so I will click on view tab, and then I'll remove the grid lines. And this is the chart that we have created, and I want to copy this chart, so I'll just simply click here on this chart, Control C, and I'll go back to the report pane, and here I will, sorry, report sheet, named report, and I will simply paste it here. So let's say if I want to keep it here, maybe here, so we can simply do Control V. So this is the chart that we have. All right. And if you further want to format this page, this particular report, so you can in fact change. Let's say if you do not want the formula bar here, so you can uncheck this box. If you do not want the headings, you can uncheck this box as well. And let's say if you want to give some suitable title to this particular report, so you can do that as well. So let's choose some cells. All right, maybe from here, and let's give it some color. So home tab, let's make it, let's choose this color, and you can give some suitable heading as well. So first of all, merge and center. Now double click, and you can give any suitable name to this report. So let's name it as centuries report. You can give it any other suitable name, Control A, and then you can change the format for the font as well. So you can increase the size, let's keep it 48, and you can keep it italic, underlined, maybe according to your convenience, right? So this is how you can create a report, and we have added one visual to this report so far. We will be adding more visuals. Also, one more thing, if you want to change the color of the bars, you can do that as well. So you can just simply click here on this chart, then design, and from here you can change the colors. Let's say if there is some other color that you want to choose, maybe if you want yellow, you can choose this. I think that's fine, it looks comparatively better. So all right, so we will meet in the next session. We will add more visuals to this report page, and till then, thank you. Bye bye. Hey everyone, welcome back. So in this video, we will add one more visual to the report. So this is the prepared data that we are going to use. This is our report, and on our report we have added only one visual so far. So I'll click on this data worksheet, and now I'll click here on the data, anywhere on the data that we have. And now I'll click on insert, pivot table, from table slash range. This shows the name of the table, and click on OK. And here it has given this name sheet 4 to this particular new sheet. First of all, I'll rename it as pivot 2. So double click and rename it as pivot 2, enter. Now I'll click here on the pivot table, and then let's say here I want to represent, as you already know that we have discussed about the status, right? I mean, like even after making more than 100 runs, whether he was still not out or he was dismissed. So we want to figure out the number of the times he was not out and the number of the times the status was out. So we now want to know about that. So I'll simply drag this status field from here and I'll drop it here in the rows section. Similarly, I'll drag this status field and we'll drop it in the values section as well. So here you can see that we are not having two categories, but we have three categories. So not out is being represented or being shown twice. So I think there is some issue, there is some problem with the data. So we will first of all head over to the Power Query editor to check what is the issue, because this not out should not be visible two different times, right? If I will click here on not out and on this not out, I think there may be some extra white spaces. So it may be required to remove these spaces, and then we will again come back to the pivot table. We will refresh it and we will see that if our problem is solved or not. So now it is needed to go back to the Power Query editor. So simply click on Data tab, Get Data, launch Power Query editor. It may take some time. This is our table and this was the column that we added, right? So what we can do is we can simply use trim on this particular column, right? So I will first of all click here on this column and then transform, and from here format and simply select trim. And right, we should first of all click on the drop down. Now here we have two categories only, so it should ideally show two categories only. I'll click on home, close and load, right? So now this is the data that we have. If I'll click on the drop down, it shows only two categories, that is not out and out. And now let's open the pivot table and let's refresh this pivot. So I will click on pivot table, analyze, change data source, okay, and click on refresh. So now you can see that we have two categories, right? So some extra white spaces, it might be the case that some extra white spaces were present there. Why? It was happening because, like for example, in the beginning we were having a cell, we were having a column, sorry, by the name runs, where we were having the values like this, I mean 107, then 102 with asterisk, 118, and maybe some other number with that special symbol, that is asterisk. So after the asterisk we might also be having an extra space and it was present there. That's why we saw that here not out and not out with, let's say, some extra spaces. There were two categories that were being created. So that's why it was required to go back to the Power Query editor, and then we had to make that change, because ideally only two categories should be present, that is either not out or out. So that's the thing. Now we are having the right data for our analysis. So what we'll do, we will now add a chart to this particular page. So you can simply click here on any one of the elements on this particular pivot table that you have, and click on pivot table, analyze, pivot chart, and it shows the suggestion that you can create a column chart. I think that's fine. We can create a column chart in this case and simply click on OK. Now let's keep it here. All right. Right click on this button, hide all field buttons on the chart. Now I do not want the grid lines to be there, so click on the plus icon and change this grid lines to off. I do not want the data labels to, legends to be there, so change this legends to off or uncheck this box. And also I want the data labels to be represented, so I'll change this to on. And since we are already representing the values through data labels, we do not want the values to be represented along the vertical axis. That is, we do not want these numbers to be represented along the vertical axis. So I'll expand this axis and I'll change this primary vertical to off. So now it looks comparatively better. Now let's say I want to remove this thin gray line as well along the horizontal x-axis. So I'll right click, outline, no outline, and let's say I want to change the format for these numbers. select them, home, black, bold, and since I want these values being represented along the horizontal axis to be having same formatting as that of these numbers. So having these numbers selected, click on Format Painter, then click on any one of the values, and you'll see that they are also now having same formatting as that of these numbers. And let's give it some suitable heading. So we can, in place of total, we can write status, right? And let's select this, and then let's keep it bold and black, italic, underlined, right? So that's the point. You can further change its size so that to make it look comparatively better. All right, I think it looks better now. Maybe we can change its location. We can keep it here. All right, so that's the thing. You can further increase the size as well if you want to. All right, so let's keep it. Okay, that's fine. Now let's say I want to add uh, a borderline as well to this particular chart, and I want to do some formatting. So I'll right click on this chart and then format chart area, and these options will open. So let's say I want to add a border, I want to add a solid line. So this has now added a solid black line. I wanted this, and you can also add I think that's fine. And let's say if you want to add a border line to the plot areas too as well, so you can simply click on this plot area, right click, format plot area, and you can add a solid line as well here as well. But I think again it doesn't look good. In fact, this number, so it's not looking perfect. So I'll just simply change it. I'll change it to no line. All right, I think this is looking better. Fine. So we can simply choose this chart, select this chart, and Control C, and I'll go back to the report and let's paste it somewhere here. Control V. You can further resize it if you want to, but I think it looks fine. It's no problem. We can just simply keep it here, and this simply represents the status. Like after making 100 runs in 24 matches, the status was still not out, and in 56 matches the status was dismissed or out, right? So this is the thing that is being represented by this chart. Also, you can add a shadow to this chart as well, like we did in the case of the bar chart that we created. So again, right click, then we have format chart area, and you can add a shadow from this section, preset, and you can select this. I think it looks comparatively better now, so that's fine. Okay, all right, so we'll meet in the next session. We will add more visuals, and we will also discuss about adding a slicer basically, right? So that's the thing that we are going to discuss. You can place it here maybe, right? Okay, so looks better. Fine, so we'll meet in the next session. Till then, thank you. Bye bye. Hey everyone, welcome back. So in this video we will see how to add one more visual, and we will discuss about the number of the centuries by year, right? So we will add a line chart in order to represent that. And first of all, I will hide this pivot to sheet. So I'll right click and simply click on hide. Now this is the data. I'm on the data sheet. This is the data that we have. I'll click here on any one of the elements. Then I'll simply click on insert, pivot table. Then this is table 1. This is the name of our table, and okay. So this has added a new sheet by the name sheet 5. I'll double click on this sheet and I'll rename it as pivot 3. Enter. Click on the pivot table. Now here we want to represent the number of the centuries made by year. So we have one column by the name date column. So I will drag this date column from here and will drop it here in rows section. Now here you can see that year is also written, quarter is also written, month is also written, and date is also written. I just want to represent it by year. So I will drag other fields out of this rows section, right? So date, bring it outside, months, bring it outside, quarter as well, and only year should remain inside, right? Because we want to represent it by years. So you can see that data is available for the years 2009 to 2023. And we want to represent the number of the innings, so sorry, number of the matches, so we basically want to represent the count of the matches. So I will drag this number field or number column from this section and will drop it here in values section, and it will represent the count. So you can see that in the year 2009 only one century was hit, then in 2010 three centuries maximum were in 2018 and 2017 as well, that is 11. So that's the thing. Now I want to add a line chart to represent this, so I'll simply click here on this pivot table, pivot analyze, pivot chart, and we will insert a line chart. So, and maybe you can choose any other line chart that you like. So I will choose this, let's select this, and all right, so just simply click on OK. All right, let's keep it here. And first of all, we will hide the buttons. So right click, hide all field buttons on the chart. Then I do not want the values to be represented along the vertical axis. So I'll just simply click on plus, and I'll change this primary vertical to off. And since we have changed it to off, so we will change the data labels to on. Yes, all right. And we do not, obviously we do not want the grid lines to be there, so I'll remove it. I do not want the legends to be there, so I'll remove that as well. And we have years being represented along the horizontal axis, that's fine. All right, and if we will add a data table, I think that will also make it easier to read. So in this particular chart we can add a data table as well. All right, fine. And if you want to change the name, you can change the name of the chart. So here we are representing total number of the centuries by year. So we can simply write centuries by year, and you can select this text, keep it bold, maybe underlined and italic as well. Further increase the size if you want to. Let's keep it here. I think let's keep it black. So home tab, select black. Now that's it. Now let's say if I want the numbers to be of black color, so we can choose this part as well. Home, let's keep it bold, let's keep it black, and all right, so it looks better now. All right, so we can further increase the size if you want to. All right, okay. And you can also add a border and shadow to this particular visual. So I'll right click and format chart area. We want a solid line. We also want to add a shadow, so I'll simply click here on this section, that is FX. Then from presets I will select this outer. All right, now I will simply, you can change the position for the title as well. All right, I will simply select this particular chart, Control C, and I will go back to the report, and let's say I want to paste it here. So I'll simply, let's choose this particular area, this particular cell, and Control V. All right, fine. You can further resize it. All right. And you can change the position as well. You can change the position of these charts, and you can change the color as well. Let's say for this line chart I want some other color to be there, so I'll simply click here on this line chart, design, change colors, and you can change any other color. Let's choose this color, monochromatic palette to orange gradient, dark to light. So let's select this. All right, fine. I think it looks comparatively better now. All right, you can sort this as well, smallest to largest, so it looks better now, I think. Fine. So these are the three charts that we have added to our report page, and we will also see how to add slicers. So we can in fact move them. Okay, we can keep them here. Maybe that's fine. Let's keep them here only. Right. All right. So now we will also see how to add different slicers. We'll discuss about that as well in the next video. And we can also hide this particular pivot table 3, right? So I'll right click and I'll simply click on hide. So we'll meet in the next session. Till then, thank you. Bye-bye. Hey everyone, welcome back. So here now we will discuss about adding slicers to this report page, and we can also mention the total number of the matches that we have data for, and we can also mention the sum of the scores made in these matches, right? So I will also mention here number of the matches, that is the number of the matches played, and the total of the matches played are equal to 80, as we have already seen when we discussed in Power Query Editor. And here we also want to represent the sum of the scores, or you can simply write total score. All right, so total score, I can use sum function for it, so I'll write equal to sum, and I will open this data worksheet, and from this column, that is, this is score column, I'll first of all click here on this particular cell, then I'll press shift control down arrow key and it will select all the numbers. Then I'll use the parenthesis to close it and click on enter. And this is how you can see that the total runs scored are being represented or shown, and this is equal to nothing but 10,524, and this was in 80 matches. We can also, in order to format this particular report page properly, we can change this grid lines to on for some time. Let's say headings as well, maybe formula bar. Okay, so let's increase the size, double click. All right, and we can copy this 80 here and we can paste it here. That's it. Or maybe we can keep it there only, that's not the problem. All right, so we can change the format for this particular number. Home, let's keep it bold, and similarly let's keep this as well bold. And all right, sorry, all right, and then all right, and we can keep them, let's say give them a dark border. All right, so it looks better now, and we can further place these charts as well accordingly using the grid lines. All right, I think it looks better now. All right, okay, let's keep it here, further resize it and resize this as well. Now we will add slicers as well to this report page. So I will first of all, you can click on any one of the charts. Let's say I click here on the centuries by year chart, and then you can click on insert, and then you can simply select the slicer, and you can then select the field or the column for which you want to add the slicer. So let's say I want to add a slicer for let's say we want to add a slicer for position. So I'll simply click on OK, and let's say I want to add a slicer for, you can further resize this, so we will resize this as well. Let's keep it here, let's resize it. All right, fine. All right. And let's say if you want to add a slicer for innings as well, so you can now again click on any one of the chart, and once you have clicked on any one of the chart, you can just simply click on insert and then slicer, and you can add one more slicer. So let's add one more slicer for innings as well and click on OK. So this is one more slicer that we have added. Let's keep it here. Let's resize it. All right. Okay. So now if I will click on, let's say any number, let's say for this innings slicer, if I'll click on 1, you will see that this particular chart is only getting filtered. I want all the charts to get filtered when I select any given particular inning from this innings slicer. So for that purpose, first of all, I'll click here on this innings slicer. Then this particular slicer appears here at the top, and then you can click on report connections, and then from here you can select all the pivot tables. So pivot 1 and pivot 3 as well, and simply click on OK. And now when I'll click on 1 or maybe 2, you can see that the numbers are changing on all the graphs, all the charts that we have on this page, right? That's the thing. Similarly, for this position slicer as well, if you want to make this change, you can just simply select this particular slicer. If as of now, if I'll click here on 2 or 3 or 4, you will see that this centuries by year chart is getting impacted. I want all the charts to be affected by it. So I'll first of all click here on this position slicer, then I'll click on report connections, and then I'll select all the pivot tables and I'll click on OK. Now if you will select or click on any particular number, you will see that all 3 charts are getting filtered accordingly, right? So you can further keep the slicers here according to your convenience wherever you want to place them, and you can use them for filtering different charts that we have on this particular page, right? So that's the thing. So these are different positions and these are different innings. So you can choose from here and you can filter the values which are present on these charts, right? So I hope this video was helpful. Also, there is one more thing. We should also remove the grid lines. So I'll first of all click here on the sheet, view tab, grid lines, formula bar, and headings. Now it looks comparatively better, I think. All right, you can place it somewhere here and place this as well somewhere here. All right, so that's the thing. I think there are some, okay, some slicer values are selected. 2012 it shows. All right, we will clear all the slicers. All right, now it looks better now. All right, and that's how these different values can be selected. You can format the charts according to your needs as well, but I hope that this video was helpful. We'll meet in the next session. Till then, thank you. Bye bye.